Have you ever been there? You're reading the same paragraph over and over and over again. Or you sit down to study and an hour goes by and you realize you've gotten almost nothing done. Well, today we're going to dive into a simple technique that can totally change how you learn and work, all by hacking your focus in just 25 minutes.
It all really starts with this one question that, let's be honest, we've all asked ourselves. Why is it so hard to just sit down and focus for hours? I mean, you've got the best intentions, right? You clear your schedule, you grab your coffee, but your brain just doesn't seem to want to play along. Well, it turns out this isn't some personal failing, it's just how we're wired. The science is actually really clear on this. Our natural, optimal ability to really concentrate on one thing, it only lasts for about 10 to 40 minutes. That's kind of the golden window our brain gives us for peak performance. And here's the crucial part. What happens after that window closes? When you try to push past that 40-minute mark, you start getting diminishing returns. It's not just that it feels harder, it's literally less effective. For every minute you force yourself to keep going, your brain is just absorbing and holding on to less and less information. So this brings us to the core issue, what we can call the attention span problem. See, most of us treat studying or working like it's a marathon, when our brains are actually built for a series of short sprints. So what if we just stopped fighting our brains? What if we decided to work with their natural rhythm instead of against it? Well, that's the whole idea behind this brilliantly simple solution, the Pomodoro Technique. It was developed by Francesco Cirillo, and it's a time management method that's built on one single powerful idea. These short, focused sprints are way more effective than long, grueling slogs. And the magic number here? 25 minutes. An interval of pure, uninterrupted focus. And the process itself, it's just incredibly simple. First, you set a timer for 25 minutes, and you work on one thing, just one. That little block of time is called one Pomodoro. Then, when the timer goes off, you take a mandatory 5-minute break. You get up, you stretch, whatever. Then, you just repeat the cycle. Seriously, that's the entire system. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's so simple, it almost sounds too good to be true, right? So why does this actually work so well? Well, to really get it, we need to look under the hood a little bit at the science of our own memory. Let's get really specific. What is actually happening in our brains during those 25-minute sprints and those 5-minute breaks that makes this whole thing so powerful for learning and remembering stuff? The answer comes down to two fascinating principles about how our memory operates. So first, over on the left, we've got something called the primacy effect. This is just our brain's tendency to remember stuff from the beginning of a session really well. It's like your brain perks up and goes, okay, new topic, let's pay attention. And then on the right, you have the recency effect. We also tend to have a really strong memory for information that was presented at the very end, right as our brain is getting ready to file it all away. Here's the perfect way to make this crystal clear. Imagine you go to a party. You meet like 30 new people. The next day, who are you most likely to remember by name? Almost always, it's the first couple of people you met when you walked in and the last couple of people you chatted with before you left. Everybody you met in the middle, they kind of become this big blur. That's the primacy and recency effect right there in action. Okay, so now we have all the pieces of the puzzle, right? We know our attention span is kind of short. And we know our memory loves beginnings and endings. So let's put it all together and see exactly why those tiny little breaks are the secret ingredient that boosts your brain. So think about a traditional 3-hour cram session. It's just one long, unbroken block of time. This gives you only one beginning to kick off that primacy effect and only one end for the recency effect. All that really important stuff stuck in the middle has to fight for its life to stick in your memory. But now let's contrast that with the Pomodoro way. Instead of one long marathon, you're creating multiple distinct little sprints. Every single 25-minute block gets its own powerful beginning and its own memorable end. You're not studying for less time overall, but you're structuring it to give your brain the maximum chance to form strong memories. So here's the most important point. The breaks are not a sign of weakness. They're actually a strategic weapon. By taking these short, consistent breaks, you are intentionally creating more beginnings and more endings. You're leveraging the primacy and recency effects over and over and over again. You're essentially hacking your own memory, which is exactly why those nonstop, all-night cram sessions are often so ineffective. And this kind of leaves us with a final thought. It's not about trying to find more hours in the day. It's about making your minutes actually count. Knowing that you can make real, memorable progress with these short, focused sprints, what could you master in your next 25 minutes?